Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Dr. Isma, and we shall be continuing with the potassium ion regulation part 2. So, the next part is the excretion of potassium by the kidneys, and the potassium excretion is mainly determined by three processes, which are the rate of potassium filtration, and you can calculate this by multiplying the GFR by the plasma potassium concentration, and number 2, the rate of potassium reabsorption by the tubules, and number 3, by the rate of potassium secretion by the tubules. As you can see on the figure on your slide, that the GFR is 180 liters per day, and the plasma concentration of potassium is 4.2 milliequivalents per liter. So when you multiply that, you get 756 milliequivalents per day of a filtered load of potassium into the nephrons. And out of this, 65% of the potassium is reabsorbed from the proximal tubule, and about 25 to 30% is reabsorbed from the thick ascending limb of the loop of Henle, and along with the co-transport of sodium over here. And these reabsorptions are relatively constant, and they basically they are not responsible for the day-to-day variation in the potassium excretion. So what is responsible for the day-to-day variation or changes in the potassium excretion is the late distal tubule and the cortical collecting tubules. Over here you can see that 4% of the potassium, that is 31 milliequivalents per day, is secreted in the late distal tubule, and about 12% is secreted in the cortical in the collecting tubules. So it is these areas basically where the day-to-day variation in the potassium excretion occurs, meaning if the requirement of the potassium in the body is enough, then the amount of potassium excreted will be around 4% in the late distal tubule and 12% in the cortical collecting tubule, making it 92 milliequivalents per day. And but if the amount of potassium in the body is less, then the secretion in these areas will decrease, and they will basically increase the reabsorption of potassium. Also, again, if the amount of potassium in the body is more than normal, then the secretion in these areas, that is the late distal tubule and the collecting tubules, will increase, so that the excess of potassium can be removed from the body. So basically the day-to-day variation that occurs along with the intake of potassium in your daily meals depends on the secretion of potassium in the late distal tubule and the collecting tubules. This is the same thing that I have already explained, that the normal rate of potassium filtration is 756 milliequivalents per day, with GFR 180 liters per day, and plasma potassium being 4.2 milliequivalents per liter. And this rate of filtration is relatively constant, because obviously the GFR is auto regulated, and also because the plasma potassium concentration is very precisely managed. 65% of the filtered potassium is reabsorbed in the proximal tubule, and 25 to 30% is reabsorbed in the loop of Henle, especially in the thick ascending part, where the potassium is actively co-transported along with sodium and chlorine. So, like I have already told you, that the daily variation in the potassium excretion is mainly caused by changes in the potassium secretion in distal and the collecting tubules. And so these are the important sites mainly for regulation of potassium excretion, where mainly it takes place from the principal cells of the late distal tubules and the cortical collecting tubules. In these tubular segments, the potassium at times can be reabsorbed, like I've already told you, or at other times it can be secreted depending on the needs of the body. With the normal potassium intake of 100 milliequivalents per day, the kidneys must excrete 92 milliequivalents per day, and the remaining 8 milliequivalents will be lost in the feces. And about 1/3, which is 31 milliequivalents per day of this amount of potassium, is secreted into the distal and the collecting tubules. And with high potassium intake, the extra excretion of potassium is mainly achieved by increasing the secretion of potassium into the distal and the collecting tubules. When the potassium intake is reduced below normal, the secretion rate of potassium in the distal and the collecting tubules decreases, causing a reduction in the urinary potassium secretion. So, most of the day-to-day regulation of potassium excretion occurs in the late distal and the cortical collecting tubules, where potassium can either be reabsorbed or secreted depending on the needs of the body. Potassium secretion by the principal cells of the late distal and the cortical collecting tubules. The principal cells of the late distal and the cortical collecting tubules make up about 90% of the epithelial cells in these regions, and these are the cells which mainly secrete potassium. Over here you can see the principal cells of the late distal and the cortical collecting tubules. You can see over here that on the basolateral side of the cell is a sodium potassium ATPase pump, and on the luminal side is the our epithelial channels for sodium and for potassium. Secretion of potassium from the blood into the tubular lumen involves two processes. Number one, obviously, the uptake of potassium from the interstitium by the help of the sodium potassium ATPase pump, which is present on the basolateral membrane of the cell, which moves sodium out of the cell into the interstitium and at the same time moves potassium to the interior of the cell. And the next step is the passive diffusion of potassium from the interior of the cell into the tubular fluid. The sodium potassium ATPase pump creates a high intracellular potassium concentration, which provides the driving force for passive diffusion of potassium from the cell into the tubular lumen. The luminal membrane of the principal cells is highly permeable to potassium, and there are special channels which are specifically permeable to potassium ions, thus allowing these ions to diffuse across the membrane. Control of potassium secretion by the principal cells. There are three main factors that control the potassium secretion by the principal cells of the late distal and the cortical collecting tubules. Obviously, the first factor is the activity of the sodium potassium ATPase pump. The next is the electrochemical gradient for the potassium secretion from the blood into the tubular lumen, which is also created by the sodium potassium pump. And the third is the permeability of the luminal membrane for the potassium ions. Intercalated cells can reabsorb potassium during potassium depletion. These intercalated cells have a special hydrogen potassium ATPase transport mechanism on the luminal side of the membrane. What it does is, whenever there is potassium depletion in the body fluids, it reabsorbs potassium from the lumen, and in exchange for absorbing potassium from the lumen, it secretes a hydrogen ion into the lumen. This potassium ion, when into the cell, then it moves across the basolateral membrane into the blood. So it basically corrects whatever depletion of extracellular fluid potassium is present in the body.